Hello everyone, and welcome to my channel, where everything you're about to hear and see has been done in one take. I'm your host, the One Take Man. As of the time of this video's release, my birth country of Romania will have recently concluded going through two election cycles that more or less overlapped. Namely the presidential election and the parliamentary election, with the winners of both of them due to be sworn in before Christmas. Given I am filming this video way ahead of time and therefore have no way of knowing, how those develop, I instead thought I would utilize this opportunity to talk about something I've considered in the past, namely how to develop a political party. I have talked about my politics in the past, and more precisely how they've developed, and also I've covered the fact that I've been involved with with a Romanian political party during the previous election cycle. In fact, I was admitted within the party shortly before that election cycle, that election season began, and as such, I was privy to, or I was a witness to a lot of discussions that went on to become quite influential at later points within the party's future. Not necessarily always in the positives, with a positive sense, however, because I did also notice a lot of shady dealings going on behind the scenes, and I also noticed how both refusal to commit to an ideology and overt adherence to ideology ultimately ended up sinking the not just the party's ambitions, but also the message it was built around. I already have a video on that, so I'm not going to talk too much about it. However, as a stickler, during that time I did consider various avenues or directions which a party would have to take in order to be the best possible political party. And that is what I am going to be telling you over the course of this video. I do have to add a disclaimer here, namely, everything you're about to hear is strictly my opinion, because I am not a political philosopher or a political scientist, so there is no way for me to know if anything I am talking about really has any kind of scientific backing. All it is first of all my empiric backing, and second of all, my total opinions based on just being an active participant within various political discussions. Before I talk about my ideal party's inner workings, however, I first want to talk about some conditions that I think should apply to all parties everywhere. The first such condition is the fact that I think no party should ever have disingenuous or ambiguous names. In practice, that would mean that no party could call itself liberal, progressive, conservative, or traditionalist. Even if all these terms have political definitions, they have different colloquial definitions as well. So finding out what their name is doesn't really reveal what their deal is, kind of thing. But say for example, a country institutes universal healthcare. Once the conservatives come in power, after that, after universal healthcare is introduced, what would be more in keeping with their policy? Keeping it and therefore conserving the state as it is, or discarding it in order to conserve the state as it has been. If questions like this don't really cleanly reveal what the party if questions like this don't allow people to clearly figure out what the party agenda would be based on its name, then that name should probably be changed. The second condition I'd like to see applied is that the party regularly submit itself to audits, primarily of the financial kind. The third and perhaps most important condition, and the first one that directly goes into and the first point within this video where I go into the inner workings of the party, is that no person who holds a position of leadership within the party should be allowed to become a candidate on the party's behalf. The conflict of interest in that case is so blindingly obvious. I am not surprised this is not a standard rule basically everywhere, and yet it isn't, and it opens up a lot of institutions to a lot of political instability. There's also a fourth condition I'm considering, even though it only applies to parties that have been appointed to legislative assembly. Namely, and it concerns the use of whips. For those of you who don't know, a whip is a member of a party that is represented within a legislative assembly, whose job it is to make sure that all the members of the party vote in accordance to the party line. I am softly opposed to it because I think that any party member that has been appointed to the legislative assembly, to any country or any other subdivisions or any territory or any political subdivisions legislative assembly has arrived there in order to represent their constituents, not to pair the party line. So therefore it basically goes against the rights both of that party member and of their constituents for there to be for their vote to change due to the influence of a whip. But I recognize that there is some leeway there. So for that reason, I'm just gonna mention my personal preference: no whips, and move ahead. Some of you might be wondering why exactly it is that I would be placing these conditions upon these parties. Well, the answer for that is actually quite simple. Namely, the fact that these parties are there to fulfill a purpose, and I think having these conditions put in place for them allows them to more effectively fulfill that purpose, or be able to fulfill that purpose. And what is that purpose? Your mileage may vary, but in my opinion, a political party is primarily a vessel for guiding the will to self-governance of a people. That people being the population of a country in general, but the party's members and supporters in particular. And as such, the inner workings have to be constructed in such a way that will to self-governance is accurately reflected, and therefore that the best possible ideas and implementations come to the forefront through the party structure. That process will always occur via consensus, regardless of how it is otherwise defined. So when putting the party mechanisms together, my main focus is making sure that all relevant decisions are made via informed consensus. And in order to establish this informed consensus, I think the best possible avenue is for the party to schedule regular meetings and discussions, where the current state of affairs in both in society and politics is presented, and then the party itself can offer can offer stances and responses or solutions to the to the problems or issues that are that are faced by that are faced by a society or by a country at all of its levels. And I think these mechanisms of building an informed consensus should take place. Should be put in place at all levels of the party. So nationwide, statewide if applicable, but also countywide, citywide, townwide, villagewide, etc. The organization of the party would be somewhat porous vertically, i.e., if someone is a member of a town's party branch, they would also be the member of that county's party branch, of that state's party branch, assuming the party exists in a under a federal government, as well as of the national level. When it comes to but horizontally, however, I still kind of want the party subdivisions, the various local subdivisions of a party, to operate more or less independently, and only influence each other if they are invited to do so. So for that end, it helps to define what local subdivision, what that looks like, how that is constituted. And I think a local subdivision would function, based on administrative territorial divisions. So it would be as I said, a town branch, county branch, city branch, etc. And the minimum number of members that would have to be present within that specific subdivision in order for that territorial subdivision to have its own branch would have to reach the the minimum viability number. The smallest number of members that could budget, organize outreach programs, as well as discussion circles. And in my estimation, that number is free, namely two people to exchange ideas and one person to take notes. And from that cell, that party could grow, and or that particular subdivision of the party could grow, and as it grows, and its members can take on a wider array of tasks, from budgeting, event planning, and onboarding, all the way to forming committees, managing projects, and big picture planning. It really is within those party committees that I've talked about that most of the most of the cells of governance would actually be the most of the building blocks of the party's governments would actually take place, because I envision these committees to be formed on a technocratic basis. I formed around various government responsibilities or departments, and they would constitute of the members that have the most expertise within those specific fields of government activity. And they would discuss the problems that are endemic to each of these fields, or especially insofar as they are present within the within their territorial subdivision or the nation as a whole. and come up with various solutions as to how exactly those problems could be fixed. In essence, I'm essentially constructing a bottom-up model of policy building, with these various ideas eventually coming together and building the policy plan for the for the party at the various levels at which it is at which sorry about that at which it is active. Internal leadership competitions as well as candidate appointments would function on a similar basis, with the various with them presenting their candidatures or reasons why they should be in their positions, and then all the members of the party would vote for them, and in a direct democracy implementation, one person, one vote. Admittedly, other models are also possible, but right now I'm trying to keep it simple: one person, one vote. Additionally, this is more of a nice if it could be done, not necessarily a must. But I am also considering that perhaps the internal leadership structures of the party could perhaps mirror the ideal for what the party would seek to implement at that particular territorial level. So, for example, the county branch of a party would be the leadership of that county branch would be constituted in the same way as that branch envisions the ideal leadership structure of the party itself. And the same would be true at town level, at city level, at state level if applicable, and even national level. But again, that is really that is just my suggestion. Something that would be nice to have, and something that I will cover in a more humorous way in the next video. But for now, I'd like to say that this has been my suggestion for a party project. And assuming you've made it this far, thank you for your attention. If you've enjoyed my presentation, well then please like the video, maybe even share it wherever you think other people will also like the video. If there is anything you'd like to add, either to the idea of a party project or to how I personally would choose to implement it, that's what the comment section is for. And if you want to see when my next video gets released, well then please subscribe. And ideally also ring the bell or do whatever else YouTube will ask of you in order to keep you notified. I also have a main channel where I talk about book-related and literature topics, a link to which you can find in the description down below, right past my social media links, which I also suggest you check out should you choose to. Assuming you're not interested in hearing me talk about book-related or literature topics, then I suggest you stay on this channel and go for my extensive backlog where I talk about basically everything under the sun. So if it interests you, it's likely you will find it there. And if none of those interest you, then I suggest you go ahead and do whatever you want the rest of your day, because it is your day after all. And yeah, that was all I had to say. Until next time, I have been the One Take Man.